Welcome to the Body Grievers Club. Hi, friend. I am your host, Bree Campos from Body Image with Bree. I am a fat positive body image coach, educator, and trained mental health counselor. My goal is to help you stop hating your body and learn how to move through unavoidable body grief. This won't be your average body image advice. No affirmations, no fluff, no filter. I am prepared to say the quiet parts out loud. And no matter how overwhelming or hopeless your body image feels, you belong here. Welcome to the Body Grievers Club. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm so excited to introduce today's guest. I will let them introduce themselves. Jessi, author of the book Body Neutral. Jessi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be here.
Tell everybody who you are if they don't already know.
Well, I am, as you said, the author of the book Body Neutral, which I wrote because I've been a body image coach for a very long time. And the direction that my work has taken has been, I kind of started like everyone back in the day, sort of self-love, body positivity, whatever. Yeah. But I was realizing very quickly that just didn't feel accessible to a lot of people.
Yes.
And also it didn't really have any action steps. It was just sort of the idea that you could start or stop feeling a certain way. And it had a lot of flaws. It focused on the individual and it ignored a lot of social context. So ultimately I found my way to body neutrality, which is not about feeling really anything. It's about stripping away the meaning that you have learned to associate with your body, the false inflated significance that we have learned to place on top of our bodies and appearance, and just letting it be what it is, which you could totally have feelings and preferences and opinions about. But the way I always put it is like, if you had a huge zit on your forehead, like you would not be able to body positivity your way into going like, it's beautiful, I'm beautiful, like that's just never going to happen. And nor should it. Like, what is the point of that? Instead, a body neutral lens is being able to look in the mirror, roll your eyes, put some concealer on it, and move on with your day. Like, it doesn't have power over you. That's what we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So body neutrality to me is stripping away that false and inflated power that the way you look we've been taught has or should have and doesn't need to have.
Oh, so good. I use that example of like, if I, have a zit, I'm not going to be like, I love this zit. This zit makes me so happy. But I also can't change it. Like, it's here. I can hide it. I can be angry about it. I can beat myself up about it, but that doesn't make the zit go away.
I also always point out that, like, for some people with really intense face dysmorphia type of body image issues, this doesn't apply. But for most people, if I say, and why don't you go into a spiral of hating yourself when you have a zit?
Yeah.
And the answer is because you didn't learn that having a zit means you failed at something, that you have less worth and value. Therefore, it doesn't really go so deep to your identity or your place in the world. It just sucks. And so we generally can move on with our days because we know how for stuff to suck, we can deal with stuff that sucks. That's a safe thing for us to do. We don't know how to deal with like, I have no worth or value and now everybody knows it. Like, that's not a thing we're equipped to just carry on with. We will focus on that. And that's what we've learned other aspects of our body and appearance has that power.
I find that, like, in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2026, the like new, like, oh, this is impacting my worth and value but it's not healthy. And so I should do everything I need to do to get rid of this zit because I care about my health.
Yeah.
And it is really hard to have a conversation about health when it's not nuanced. There's like, I mean, tell me your reaction. There was a big guffaw. Tell me, what are your thoughts?
Just like, I have always felt, well, so I should mention, I started in the fitness industry as a personal trainer, right? Before I got to this work, that was my work. The reason I started this work is I was like, oh my God, I'm having the same conversation with Victoria's Secret models as I am with like weekend warrior moms. And they're clearly the idea that if you change the way you look, you'll feel confident isn't true.
Yeah.
So what else could possibly be going on? That's what rabbit holed me down this in the first place.
Nice.
So, but I came from the fitness industry, which I think you can fairly understand. Like everyone I knew was orthorexic. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yes.
some had orthorexia officially, and many of them just did stuff that looking back, I'm like, wow, that red flag.
Quick pause for
Yeah.
those who don't know. Orthorexia is the obsession with healthy eating.
Yeah.
It is a non-diagnosable eating disorder that those of us in the eating
Yeah.
disorder world will register. I identify with having had orthorexia, but
Yeah, looking
yeah,
back, a lot of my habits were so the way I've heard it defined is an unhealthy obsession with health. And that absolutely is what I
yeah,
was doing. It's absolutely what they were all doing. And
yeah,
so I think they're like coming from that space, I was like, I just kind of understood that saying you wanted to be healthy was a cover for this much darker thing, like all the time.
yeah.
I had friends who couldn't go out to eat. Or if they went out to eat and they had already chosen the thing they were going to order and then they didn't have it that day, they would just like lock themselves in a bathroom and cry
Yeah.
because they cared about health? No, because they had an eating disorder. But like anytime you had a conversation about it, like, wow, you got really upset about that food thing. It was like, yeah, I hate the thought of putting something, unhealthy or what. And like, it was just a cover up. It was so obviously a cover up
Yeah.
that was my association. But then I think when I got more into the like Gen Pop world and there was less of that very intense kind of breeding ground for, of course, we're all obsessed with health. We're personal trainers and whatever. I just was like, oh, the same thing is happening just at a slightly more chill level. Like everyone is saying the
Correct.
same talking points to keep
Yes.
the heat off what is
Yes.
disordered. They go, oh, yeah, I just really want to be healthy. And they say that. And now you can't claim that they're being weird about food, right? Like now it's something you go, oh, that's so good of you instead of I'm
Yeah.
concerned. It's just an immediate
Yeah.
like, look over here.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're calling it a, what did you call it, a front? I forgot what the word you used,
fine. Yeah.
but
Cover up.
a cover up. I call it like a hiding under the guise. So
Yeah.
it's really just body hatred,
Yeah.
but it's wearing a beautiful mask of health because
Uh-huh.
nobody will question you if you say, I want to change my body to improve my health. They
Yeah.
might question you if you say, I want to change my body because I want to have more worth and value,
Yeah,
or
yeah. To
I
conform
want
with society standards so that people like me.
so that I can like what I look like in the mirror and I
Yeah.
can fit back into my jeans that I fit into
Yeah.
when I was in high school. Like those would be red flags. So we learned the talking points. And
Yeah.
I know personally for me, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about your story, but like I learned those talking points young. I knew exactly what
Mm.
to say. And it wasn't until I was pressed of like, okay, well, if you want to lose weight for health, how much? Well, I don't need a number. I just know I need to lose it. Okay. And if you don't, how will that feel? Well, I will be devastated. But
Yeah.
why? Because I want to be healthy. But you just told
Yeah.
me that like,
Yeah.
right? Like that like, oh
Yeah.
man, I'm just not I was so dissonant, right? Like the cognitive
Yep. Yep.
dissonance was just unaware to me until somebody made me sit in the discomfort of you are saying one thing, but you're
Yeah.
behaving a different way.
I'm sure you do this all the time too, but it's why like thought experiments and coaching can play such a role. Not for everybody, but there are times where like we have to do so many thought experiments just to open a door of
Yes.
imagination.
Yes.
Like just imagining things so that you can
Yeah.
even get to a new thought because it's stuff that people take for granted so hard. Like
Yes.
that health matters
Yeah.
and is good. The pursuit of it is good. The weight loss is healthy. And it's just so many shut doors that you can't even
Yeah.
really fathom. Like, well, what if you got perfect blood work and you were so healthy, but you were at the same weight? It's not even a place their imagination can take them until there's guidance. And yeah.
And like, what if you don't get to a place where your blood work
That
is
too.
perfect and healthy?
Absolutely.
It's funny that you bring up blood work. So back in December, I had gotten some blood work because want to talk about health. I didn't know if I was going to have health insurance. So I was like, let's just
Oh,
get a quick test of like all my
yeah.
stuff. And my numbers had been the best they had been in my entire life. And I was like, I eat like a glorified 5-year-old. Like like I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
And I just got my blood work done again, and things have changed. And when
Yeah.
I look at what's different from 2 months ago, one, I don't know if you follow me on social media at the time of this recording, I have a little foster puppy because I had a,
Yeah.
very lapse in judgment and like, oh, I can help. And then I'm like, wow, having a puppy is a lot of work and
Yeah.
stress. So my sleep has been impacted. My stress has been impacted. That
Yeah.
has to impact
Sure.
my health in some way.
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting experiment if my foster puppy goes away and does my blood work improve.
Oh
But
my gosh, totally.
in any other time, it would have been like, well, what did I eat? Or maybe it was because I
Yeah.
didn't work out that like, and I had been
Yeah.
really sick. Like there were just so many things that
Mm.
contributed to this slight
Yeah.
change in blood work. But sometimes I find that the blood work then becomes the new, like labs
Oh my
become
God, that's so
the
true.
new
It's
way.
so true. Truly, I used it just now as like
I
part of a
know, I
thought
know.
experiment to bring imagination into a place that's stuck. But I absolutely agree. I will even say, so I took up vaping when I was writing my book. I honestly don't know why. I just decided, and I now regret it because I quit 47 days ago or something like
Mm,
that. I have an app that tells
yeah.
me. I've never experienced anything like it. It's so awful. I don't feel any different today than I did on day 2 in terms of cravings. Like I want it constantly. I
Wow.
think about it constantly. And I am
Wow.
just shoveling sugar in my mouth. I'm not even a sugar person. I never have been.
Sure.
And I'm eating candy just because I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, it's that. We got 2 options here and it's candy.
Yeah.
So like I've gained a bunch of weight. I bet my blood
Mm.
work is worse. You know what I mean? Like I'm unhealthy in pursuit of health. So
Wow.
there's so
Wow.
many different ways to look at these things too of like, well, what else was going on and why are we defining health in such a narrow
Mm-hmm.
lens? And
Mm-hmm.
life is big and complex and so is health and like oh my God, yeah, I feel like that's one of those things where if I were one of my clients, I'd be freaking out going, "Oh my God, I'm getting so unhealthy." And I feel very
Yeah.
like I am max efforting health right now. And in order
Yeah.
to get there, I have to do a bunch of unhealthy stuff. And I'm willing to because it
Yeah.
hopefully will be worth it. But it's like
Yes.
so hard and so
Yeah.
complicated.
I think you're so right. And like the pursuit of health and having things that maybe aren't quote unquote healthy, but I think that people will see only behaviors
Yeah.
and not emotions. And it's like, so we were talking, like you were talking about the emotional experience and stripping away, right? I remember one of the first times of really recognizing this, like good food, bad food, was
Mm,
I wanted fast food. And I was like, I have food freedom. I'm going to go get some fast food. And then I felt like a criminal and I felt embarrassed and I felt shame. And I was like, whoa, this is intense.
yeah.
In a different time, I would have just stuffed that feeling down. I would have eaten my food
Mm,
in silence and secrecy and then gone about my day. But
hmm.
I said, this is the discomfort I have to sit in
Yeah.
so I can create change.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I I think so much of healing from disordered eating is also it looks like unhealthy habits
Yes.
and
Yes.
and weight gain and
Yes.
eating junk food and all these things that like
Not moving your body. Like,
yeah. And I feel the same way in every area. I think that's a really obvious one. If you give that example to people, they'll kind of begrudgingly be like, yeah, I guess you would need to eat Pop Tarts if you were terrified of Pop Tarts and your eating disorder or whatever. But I kind of feel like it's the same with everything. Like, I think that so many people have a disordered relationship with skincare right now, you know? And if you
yes.
panic because you didn't have access to your skincare or whatever,
Yeah.
let's say on a trip or something, if that causes panic, it doesn't matter how good retinol and whatever is for your skin because you've actually done something unhealthy by attaching this emotional safety to a serum. Like, how
Mm,
that's not health, really.
right. Right. It's looking at the intention and then it's looking at the emotional response. And so, like, when I think about, my own like journey, I hate using the word journey, on my own, exploration of my own body image story, I might have said, like, I want to feel neutral about my body. But that wasn't true, right? Like I wanted to like my body. I wanted to feel
Yeah.
comfortable in my body. And I know like one of the things that I had to acknowledge is that if I wanted to heal my relationship with my body, I wanted to feel neutral about going into the bagel store. or needing to take
Oh,
off or
right.
needing to cancel a movement class because I wasn't feeling it.
Uh-huh.
Right. Or like opting for the high calorie, high, shame food over the salad, despite the feelings that came up, which was not neutral.
Totally. I love that as a goal though. And I love that sometimes it requires getting a lot more specific and nuanced to even understand what the goal is. Because if you
Yeah.
say I want to feel neutral, like that isn't really a it doesn't give you a lot of guidance about where you're going necessarily. Or it can just feel overwhelming as if any feeling would be a failure to that goal, which as we talked about, like you have to make space for those feelings.
I often will say things to folks like, you're looking at me. If anybody's watching this, we're in my office. My office has a lot of one color. I could not say that I'm neutral about the color pink. I clearly like the color pink.
Yeah.
I would feel neutral maybe about the color yellow,
Yeah.
but it is hard to feel neutral about something that you actively hate
Yeah.
or fear.
Yeah. That's why I always say it's not feeling neutral. It's not emotional neutrality. It's moral neutrality. There is no attached message of morally superior or inferior because
Yeah.
clearly eating bagels is bad, right? It's got a
Mm-hmm.
message attached that that would be bad. That would be somehow like a character failing for a person in a bigger body to do. Therefore, you're not
Yeah.
going to feel neutrally about it because it's not morally neutral. So getting to a place where you recognize that that in fact is morally neutral, that what we eat doesn't actually mean that we anything about our character, like that is body neutrality. That's what I'm always defining it with.
I love that. So if I was a client coming to you and I'm like, I want to work on body neutrality, right? Like, I love this idea. Read your book. I'm like, I need more of this. What is the framework or the steps that you take people through to help them achieve this?
Yeah, so the way that I like to start is basically by saying that body neutrality is our like default mode. We come into the world body
Yes.
neutral.
Yeah.
I've had parents argue to me that actually we come into the world body positive and like feeling so much gratitude and joy. And maybe that's true. But again, there's no moral association. They might enjoy having a body running, jumping, touching themselves, whatever. But like
Sure.
they're not saying this makes me morally superior to other kids while they do it, you know?
Correct. Correct.
So by that definition, we all come into the world body neutral and then stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so at a certain point, our survivally brain, which is only mostly interested in our survival and not really our joy
Yeah.
and confidence or happiness, it says, uh-oh, we just discovered that morality is
Mm-hmm.
important for survival and being, in the right container of morality, following the right rules will keep us from getting like kicked out of our communities and therefore stay safe. And so you
Yes.
learn that stuff. And therefore, your body image issues are actually just doing an absolute kick ass job at trying to keep you safe, trying
Amen.
to get your needs met, trying to protect you. And so we have to start with the assumption that they're attempting to do something good
Mm.
and figure out what they are attempting to do.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. If anybody is familiar with the book Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski, they talk about how the body does not differentiate trauma. So
Hmm.
it does not know if you are running from a lion or you are trying on a prom dress or taking a test or going to the doctor. All your body senses is danger. And it is doing the primal thing it has been training to do.
Yeah, so good at.
And what makes this so hard, and I just said this earlier in a session to somebody of like, there's another book, Unshrinking by Kate Mann. And one of the things she says is that imposter syndrome for fat people is a social reality. That for somebody who's maybe in a, socially acceptable body to be like, everyone's going to look at me and judge me. Nobody's looking at you. Whereas somebody who looks like me, yeah, they might actually be looking at you
Yeah.
and they might actually be judging you.
Yeah. And
And
that's
so what
true
do
of
you do
all
about it?
marginalized identities, but with body
Correct.
image, it was one of the first things I think, because, of course, I started with my own story when I started to get interested in it. I was like,
Yeah.
what's worked for me? And I tell my clients, and that would work for some and not others. And I try to figure it all out. But yeah, one of the biggest bits of wisdom that was thrown around was like, just remember no one's judging you. And for me, that was probably true. So it was a very helpful mindset shift for me and people who looked like me. And then all of a sudden, I don't know at what point, but just sort of realizing like, oh, that's actually a terrible thing to say to someone who's actually an incredibly harmful and almost violent thing to say to someone who's being actively like discriminated against for how they looked. Oh my God. But yeah, that's absolutely the case.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say to that end, like there is a level of like where I use the terminology like radical body acceptance, which my definition for is the willingness to receive my body as it is. And in that, there might be people who judge my body, and that gets to suck.
Yep.
But those are not my people, and they weren't going to be safe people regardless.
I write about that in my book a lot, where I'm like, this process that I outline, which starts with, I created a little quiz, the body image avatars, and there's 4 avatars. Each of them has like sort of an umbrella category for one of the biggest underlying problems the body is trying to solve for you, or the body image issues are trying to solve for you. And, it's like kind of a fun way to get started, but it also points you, because the problems that the way you look could be trying to solve for you are so vast and cover literally everything.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of a way of like quickly locating yourself, like what could be going on, and then you dig into the personal and the individual from there. But the process that I lay out, I'm like, this can and does work for everyone. And the outcome is so different, because you stripping away meaning from your body is great, but it doesn't do anything for how you'll be treated or perceived or anything in the world. So for somebody in a marginalized body, you get to the end of this process. Congratulations, you are now body neutral. Not that it works like that, but you know what I'm saying? The end result is you're actually like really facing the shitty reality that you are being mistreated because you no longer think it's your fault.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, my reward for going on this body neutrality journey is to realize like I'm being oppressed all the time. It's not a great reward, which is why I'm like, let's be honest, this is not like a fun ending necessarily, but I do think it's better than what we've been taught, which is you are making people treat you this way because you didn't do the right things. And there is a world of difference between those two realities.
I had a client say to me, like, Bree, you're a grifter because, and in love, because your whole thing is like, it's going to suck and it's not going to get better. And then I'm just going to be okay with it. I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
When you reach the, and the when you get to the other side, which is not how it works, but when you come to this place of radical body acceptance, I think the reward, even though the acknowledgement is, oh, I'm being oppressed, this is why it is not just about your body.
Absolutely.
And that motivates me in a wholly different way, and I know we were talking a little bit before we started recording about the, let's call it, critical feedback of the body positivity movement. And in my journey, body positivity was the gateway to realizing, oh, it doesn't align with me to hate my body and to think I'm less than. And I needed that gateway to then recognize, oh, it's not even just about liking, not needing to hate myself, but people are dying because of this. That eating disorders are the second most prevalent mental illness in the United States. Every 52 minutes, somebody is dying. And that, okay, if I'm going to give advice to my most disordered client, I can't then change that for me. Like if intentional weight loss is bad for them, then I can't hold a different standard for myself. Yeah. And that's when then understanding the social justice movement of this work is life-changing.
Yeah, I definitely grew up with a very Republican, rugged, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, individualism kind of message. And so it made perfect sense to me when someone was like, you just need to choose to love yourself. Yeah. I never questioned it at all. I was like, of course I do, because I'm in charge of myself. I'm accountable for my feelings. And looking back, when I watch cult docs, I'm like, man, I'm so glad nobody got me at that time. I would have been so susceptible. They would have been like, well, you're responsible for feeling uncomfortable with this. And I'd be like, you're so right. I am. But anyway, I basically did that, right? I was like, yes, I'm not a part of a collective. I'm an individual. How I feel about myself is my own responsibility. And I approached it that way. And it just made perfect sense until I started learning some stuff that a lot of my views were changing at this time. So it wasn't even
Yeah,
about this. It just was like
correct.
understanding systems and oppression and stuff started to open up. And all of a sudden, the how you feel about yourself and your body as an individual choice no longer made sense. It just
Yeah.
didn't make sense. I was like, but I didn't do this to me. Like,
Yeah. Or like, I mean, I'm on a mission to like create a list of recommended reads because some of the reads that I read early on in my like exploration, we have questionable feelings about said authors and
same. And I'm so bummed about that because I'm like, but you can take the good, right? They did so much good for me, and also critiques
yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, for me, like Body Respect was one of the first books that really
Mm,
taught me that, like, this isn't about health. This was never about health.
yeah.
It was just a really good marketing scheme. And I just finished, right? Like, people are like, oh, you're getting political. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is innately political,
It
right?
is.
And I just watched some Republican senator say that, like, well, healthcare needs to cost money because you need to have skin in the game. That if there's a deductible and there's a copay, then you're going to do what you need to do to have better health behaviors. And I'm like, there is no research that even supports
Yeah,
that.
no.
What research does support is access to quality medical care, access to unbiased care.
Turns out when
This
they say common sense, they mean we have no evidence to support us. That's all it means.
it is quite frustrating. And I also remember being in that dissonance of I get that this is bad to feel this way or to
Yeah.
co-sign this,
Yeah.
and I still don't feel uncharged
Yeah.
about my body.
Do you know, I would say that the vast majority of people who come to me who apply for coaching, like when they're interested in working together, they are not deep in what I would say like the pre ready to work together phase is like you still believe dieting is good. You're still, you know what I mean? Maybe you have cognitive dissonance, but it hasn't quite gotten to a breaking point. But they come to me when that cognitive dissonance is so uncomfortable and they're
Yes.
so mad about it that they're like,
Yeah.
what the hell? And then they have to go Googling and then they find me and then they read you know what I mean? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this is stupid. I would hate if my daughter, my best friend, I hate that my mom feels this way. Like, I hate it. And yet I do anyway. And I can't just
Yeah.
think and feel stuff. And I'm like, correct.
Do you know what
That
I
is
call that? I
what?
call it the head to heart disconnect,
Yes,
where
exactly.
I know this logically in my head, but I still care what people think about me, or I still criticize myself. And I'm like, if this was a logical issue,
Yeah, it'd be
no,
solved.
we would have not have
we,
jobs.
we would have we would be working in a different field.
But this is not logical. This is
Yeah.
all emotion and
Yeah.
body based. It's
Yeah.
somatic and it is beliefs. And beliefs are
Yeah.
hard to measure. How do you measure a change in beliefs?
Yeah. Absolutely. And if we go back to the survival thing, like your brain is not going to just be like, oh, so this doesn't matter
Okay.
for us after all. We're just totally safe because you said so. No problem. I'll believe you. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, okay, prove it. Prove that I'm safe to be in a bigger
Yeah.
body. Like, I have so much evidence that you're wrong. So
Yes.
you just telling me I'm supposed to think different, like that doesn't actually change. It
No.
doesn't make us feel safer. It doesn't make us feel more whatever it is that they're trying to help us get. It doesn't solve.
It's the securing the belonging, right? The
Yeah.
safety and belonging. And what I had to realize, what I like where my radical body acceptance had to come in is like, do I trust myself enough that even if I'm wrong, I know that I am making the decisions that are most value aligned to me, that I would treat every person with the same baseline, and
Yeah.
that if I am rejected, no, when I am
Yeah.
rejected, I'm resourceful enough to handle that.
I have to say, and this is one of the reasons I think that there's such a gender disparity around body image issues,
Yeah.
one of many perhaps, but so much of what body image issues are trying to accomplish for us, for so many people, is help us avoid situations that we don't trust ourselves to handle otherwise.
Yeah.
So if someone walks up to you and goes, "You're disgusting, I would never sleep with you," and you imagine just dying on the spot, then you cannot let that happen. And you must always look sleep withable to everyone.
Yeah.
Like that
Yep.
is how you solve for dying on the spot. So like a lot actually of the skill building that helps people move toward body neutrality and strip away this meaning and not make it feel like a survival thing anymore is you put yourself in situations where you build confidence and competence at someone says something like that to you and you say and truly believe like that was a rude thing to say. Why are you saying that to me? And then you go turn to your people and you get support. Knowing
Yeah.
that that's not a die on the spot moment allows it to happen sometimes. You don't want it to happen. Nobody ever wants that to happen. But like stuff like that can happen and you don't have to use your body to keep it from happening.
Because that's the thing is that it's going to happen anyway.
It is going to like if someone Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, guys. Like there is no level of hotness that actually protects you from bad stuff happening. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. And thinness does not protect you from rejection. It doesn't protect you from sickness or illness. There is no single thing that we can do to prevent feeling rejected, getting sick. Like we are all going out of this world the same way. And the shame and the distress in your pursuit of quote unquote health, it's not doing what you think it's doing.
Exactly. It is a false security blanket, but it is
Yeah.
when you
Yes.
don't have another option. And I would argue that specifically white women culture
Yeah.
are so indoctrinated not to speak up that, yeah, like you don't have another option. If someone says you're ugly and I don't want to sleep with you, like, what are you going to do? Because you've been taught never to show up angry, never to call people out for their behavior, like all of these skills that we grow up with. And, you know, I say white women culture, but obviously it's just like under patriarchy.
Correct.
But I have noticed in working with clients over the years that it does seem to be, it's like sort of like the waspy thing, you know, where I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that really comes from like a very specific upper class white culture. And it is
Yeah.
not necessarily true in a lot of other places that I maybe wouldn't have
Correct.
known. And that was something just I was like interested to see.
But I also think that like they have a lot of bigger fish to fry,
1,000,000%.
right? So it's like there's this quote, and again, another book that we can't reference anymore, so I have to find a new one. So the quote says, "The tyranny of slenderness is not just a personal matter. It's a cultural obsession that keeps women preoccupied with their bodies and less able to challenge the status quo."
Yeah. I will say, especially when I was younger and I knew a lot of younger women, like the amount of energy, discipline, willpower, creativity, and dedication that went toward staying and getting smaller
Yeah.
and didn't go toward other stuff, we could power a whole other planet. It's wild, the energy being wasted.
Well, I actually think that so we were talking a little bit too before we started recording about like some of the creative things that we're doing. And so like before we get into that, like how does one know when they've arrived, right? In body neutrality? How do we know we're there? How do we know we did it?
Oh
Gold
my
star.
gosh. Well, I will say that the stories I hear from my clients, right as I think we're sort of changing chapters, because obviously each chapter is, you know, got its own thing going on. But I feel like as we're changing chapters, I start to hear a lot of a stressor happened that normally would have made me go into a spiral. And I
Yes.
noticed I didn't go into that spiral, whether that's like
Yeah.
compulsive behaviors or thinking or feeling. They're just like, wow, like my dad commented on what I ate. And I was like kind of mad about it, but like, let it go. Those are I'm like, okay, we're about to be in the chapter of body neutrality. Like that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that going longer in between those like body dysmorphic meltdowns, shame spirals, you know, whatever it might be, going longer between them or them being less impactful, lasting less time, those are all good
Yeah.
signs. Because it just means
Yeah.
that, like, when we talk about moral neutrality, if it's morally neutral, then it can only upset you so much.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
taking down the distress level, or however
Mm.
you're measuring that, it tends to be a really good sign that we're heading into that chapter. I think the other thing is people start to know exactly why it happened when it happened. So they'll go,
Yes.
I was obsessing out of nowhere. I couldn't stop looking up plastic surgery. And then I was like, okay, well, what would Jessi say? And then I realized, oh my God, it's because of this thing. That thing that we've been talking about happened, and I didn't even put it together, but that's what it was. And I'm like,
Mm.
putting it together is another major sign. You got to be able to know what's
Yeah.
going on when it happens, or else it just feels like it's your body's fault.
I know, like, I started not even with like body positivity. I started with self-esteem. Like, I
Mm,
remember saying things to myself like, "Oh, you're so stupid," or like, "That was so embarrassing. You should be so embarrassed of yourself." And
mm,
being like, "I wouldn't talk to anybody else that way." So I
yeah.
really need to challenge myself when I start speaking that way. And I shared this story anecdotally in a masterclass I did the other day, where I was on the phone with my home insurance company because I was switching companies, and the guy starts asking me all these questions. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. And I heard it, saw it in plain
Oh, yeah.
day, but just saw the thought pass by. I was like, you're stupid. Who
Yeah.
let you buy a home? And
Yeah.
my first response was like, huh,
Yeah.
that's weird. Where did you come from? There wasn't a co-signing of it. And so
Yeah.
I was very quickly able to be like, okay, we don't like not being an expert in things. Got
Yeah.
it.
I
Makes sense.
love that. Okay, so for me, I will often try to like describe body neutrality to people, and I'm like, there comes a point where even those old criticisms, which are now disempowered, right? They don't come with the same distress, but the thoughts will still arrive. They're now
Yeah.
interesting information.
Mm.
And I can come up with a million examples, but like in COVID was always the example that I was like the first big body image crash that I had. I looked in the mirror and was like, oh, so I'm disgusting for the first time in years. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's weird. And I, instead of being like, well, I guess I'm disgusting, I just literally was like, how very intriguing. I wonder what's happening for me that I could
Yeah.
possibly be seeing. Truly, my vision was different, like I saw a monster, and as I did very, very little exploring, I might add, I found depression, and I was like, oh shit, you guys, like that actually is at this point just a little bit of a like, hey, Jessi, I need your attention.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
almost immediately, I started dealing with the depression, which was a monster of its own, but like the body image stuff was just gone because all it
Yeah.
is a babe, something is
Yes.
unwell.
Yes. I like to see it like a fire alarm.
Yeah.
And I'm a child of the 90s. So it's like the fire alarm, we gotta stop, drop, and roll. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
wait a second. It might just be a false alarm.
For sure.
We're just jumping to stop, drop, and roll because that's what we've been taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's not that you're never going to have moments of the opposite of neutrality,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not gonna be neutrality forever, and you're
Yeah.
never gonna feel distress or discomfort or
Yeah.
judge yourself. But when you do, when you know what's happening and you trust yourself,
Yeah.
that's what brings about the neutral response or the
Yeah.
lack of morality response.
And naming the deeper thing, once you get to a certain point, I mean, you do have to clear away a lot of stuff to get to this point. But once
Yeah.
you get there, naming it is just kind of all you need to disempower the body image thought. So, like, an example where there wasn't a whole lot of deeper stuff going on, me auditioning for this show that I just did was so scary. I was so far outside my comfort
Yeah.
zone and I felt so anxious. And like the audition and the first rehearsal, I
Yeah.
like I tried on, I don't know, everything in my home to try to find an outfit that made me feel confident, and none of it did,
Yes.
because it turns out I wasn't struggling with confidence about how I looked. Like, and it didn't even really bother me. It was just a thing to be like, oh, I'm having like a body image thing because my brain really doesn't want me
Yeah.
to focus on how I'm not good enough at singing. Like, you know what I
Oh.
mean? And like, I get that,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But all I have to do is name it. It doesn't make me instantly love my outfit. It just makes me be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I often like to like if I'm having a panic attack or something, I'm like, "Thank you, body." Like, I know you're trying to save my life right now.
Yeah. Alarm bells, alarm bells.
You might be working too hard, girl, but
Yeah.
like, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Like, I thought, healing my relationship to my body. I've been in my like dating era. Actually, right now I'm kind of on a little rest, but I thought I'm fucking body image with Brie. I'm gonna go
Mm.
in. And no, I'm like, oh my God, what do I wear? What do I do with my arms? What do I say? What if it's a lull? And I'm like, wow. So I'm still anxious. I'm still, uncomfortable. And it's not even about my body anymore. This
Totally.
sucks.
Oh my God, yes. This is what I'm saying. The end result is not fun, really. It's just you now have the actual ability to focus on the things that stress you out for real.
You're no longer scapegoating that your body is the
Yeah.
reason of those things.
But at least those are solvable problems, right? Like when you name the thing, I'm anxious that this guy won't like me. I'm anxious that I'm not a good enough singer to be here. Like you can deal with them.
Yes.
And there will be an endpoint to them when you make it about your body and your brain does the like, da 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 da, look over here or not over there. When you fall into that, there's no solution ever. It never gets solved.
And I think that's the appeal, right, to dieting, to wellness culture, is it gives you something to do. It gives you an actionable plan, right? And so it's like you are given this dopamine filled checklist, and you're like, my A+ student inside of me is like, I got this. And then you do it, and then it stops working, or life happens, and now you're sitting in the distress. And this is where the marketing has been, and you failed. What we ask you to do is not to start with the plan, is to just sit in the discomfort, so that the hope is when you get later on, that's when we start to be like, oh, now everything's clicking together.
Yeah. I did have a client not that long ago, but like basically tell me, I feel like you're asking me to give up on hope, because a diet is hope. Going to the gym, figuring out how to wake up earlier and do yoga and stretching. It's like hope for this life where I'm healthy, I'm happy, and I'm fulfilled, and I'm all these things, right? And I was like, oh God, there's no way to say it. I am. Like, yes, that is correct. And I'm not asking you I'm not asking you to live a life without hope in the future. I am asking you to deal with what is actually here, instead of living in this hope bubble that can only be burst and burst and burst.
Well, that's the thing, is it's like it looks like hope, like you are on a desert island and there is water all around you.
It's a mirage.
But it's salt water. And the more you drink it, the more you're thirsty, and the more that you are closer to death. So the water is there, but it's not actually ever going to bring you to the place that you want for a long period of time.
Yes, exactly. We ended up calling it Diet Hope.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the sugar-free, fat-free, carb-free version of hope.
Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
Like, it's hope, and hope it feels nice, but it's not like when you actually are willing to deal with the realities of your life, including the fact that you don't feel healthy, happy, or fulfilled, by the way, all things that suck and need to be addressed, not through losing weight, or whatever, but like by really looking at what's going on, like you will arrive at a place where the full fat version of hope exists, right?
Yeah.
You want that. I want that for you. So I'm like, I'm not really trying to, like, I'm not asking you to give up something good as if you'll just live without it. I'm asking you to give up the thing that feels good, but
Right
is really
now.
cheating you out of the real good,
And when, like, how do you measure that, right? When you are able to go out for the audition, even though you're scared out of your mind, or you go on the date, even if you need to take a Klonopin before you go, like, it is living your biggest, best, unapologetic life, not without promise of discomfort, like with promise.
Oh, for
it
sure.
will,
With promise.
it
I
will
promise.
suck. It's going to be uncomfortable. It just doesn't have to be distressful.
It's the thing with the zit, right? Like, you do or you don't put concealer on it, but you are going to go live your day that you had planned. You're not going to cancel it all and be like, this is too shameful. I can't let the world see me. Maybe you call it out and you're awkward. Your coworker's like, chatting, and you're like, I have this huge zit. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm feeling weird about it. Like, there are so many things you can do, but all of them exist within living your life anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the big
And
gift.
you don't have to wait to live your life. Like, and that's the hope piece that I think many people think of, like, I'll go on the date, I'll go on the audition. I will have hobbies once I'm there. And what we know is that you will never arrive because it doesn't exist. And that sucks.
Yeah. It is a wild goose chase.
Yeah.
And they want it that way. It
do.
serves them. Oh my God, can I tell you? I have been like trying not to take in too much content or social media, whatever, in the last couple of months while I've been doing the show, and knowing that I didn't have time to like properly deal with it.
Sure.
But with Epstein files, I feel like there's this like rising bubble of like, we are now realizing that beauty ideals
Yes.
rooted in
Say it.
pedophilia in a way that have never been dealt with before.
Repeat that because I interrupted you, but I need
Oh,
it to be loud and
that
clear.
beauty ideals in our culture are deeply rooted in pedophilia. And we've all sort of known it, right? We've all sort of said, why should a woman be hairless? Isn't that kind of how kids are? Like, we've had a little bit of a snarky relationship, kind of being like, that
Boo.
doesn't quite make sense, but we've never just seen it spelled out and been like, oh, the wealthiest men, the billionaires in our culture want women to look like children because they're into children.
Yep.
So,
And then somebody said to me the other day, they're like, am I racist and ableist if I want to lose weight for my mobility? And I said, listen, I get my nails done. I wear makeup.
yeah,
I am complicit with the beauty standard.
sure.
The difference is it doesn't cause me distress if I don't get my nails done or if I don't wear makeup. It used to.
%.
It used to. I used to be like, oh my God, I cannot go out of my house without putting on a full face of glam. I look back at high school photos. I'm like, wow, I committed to that smoky eye.
Yeah,
like,
same.
right? Whereas if you believe that, okay, I usually ask clients this, if we could work on your mobility, but your body size does not change, do you still want to work on mobility?
Yeah.
And most people say yes. Most of you are lying because I was lying too. I was like, yeah, that's fine.
Of course.
I just want to be strong and healthy. And that's that. What did you call
The
it?
cover up.
The cover up. The guys.
Look over here.
Yeah. And it's like, we are all complicit in upholding the beauty standard, the beauty industry in 2020, when the world was suffering its biggest pandemic we've ever seen, made over $525 billion, and nobody fucking left their house. So how the fuck did they do that?
Oh my God.
When we can acknowledge the systems that profit from our insecurities, and that when we are making decisions that are not out of autonomy, right? I am losing weight because I want to not experience oppression, because I want to be able to go to the doctor and have them believe me, or I want to be able to fit into clothes, or I want to feel comfortable enough to go on a date or to fit on a roller coaster. We have to acknowledge the oppression piece, and that what you're hoping for is security in self, not security in system.
Yeah.
The systems are still benefiting.
Yeah. Again, I think it goes to like, what does body neutrality look like for someone in a marginalized or not marginalized body? Is like, I also, another big thing I say is there are no body neutral choices. The whole point is moral neutrality applies to all of your choices as well. I ask that we make them consciously.
Yes.
I think we are served better when we make them consciously. I worked so long ago with a girl who wanted to be an actor in New York and was like, should I get a nose job or not?
Yeah.
That was our work together. And ultimately, like, I was so stoked for her to make the decision to get it, because she made it from the perspective of, I will book more jobs, but that doesn't mean anything about me. That just means I will thrive in an industry I'm excited to be in.
Yes.
These are opportunities that are worth it, you know, having gone through the whole process of making the decision really consciously. That is still morally neutral, right? Yeah. There's also a version of getting a nose job that I would say is so painful because the person goes, maybe someone will love me if I'm not so ugly, right? Like there's a lot, there's a spectrum on all of it. But yeah, I feel like the version of, do you want to make these changes because you think that they will make you more deserving of the thing that you're going to get, maybe?
Yeah.
Or just because of the thing you're going to get. And there's a world of difference in the internal experience of that. Can I fit on a roller coaster and I want to be on a roller coaster versus do I deserve to have fun? Like those are two completely different experiences.
Like, I don't even like roller coasters. Why am I trying to
That sounds
fit them?
awful.
I like to be on the ground. I'm short. Okay.
No
And
appeal.
none. And like, there's things that I think about that like I can grieve. Like I remember one of the things that I used to grieve was like, okay, there's probably a reality in which back in my very conservative days, long time ago, I was very religious, where it's like I wanted my future spouse to carry me over the threshold on
Oh,
our wedding
sure.
night.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Sure.
And it caused a lot of grief because I was like, but I
I could
want this thing to
see it.
happen.
Yeah.
But it's like not having that thing, like, doesn't mean that I won't have a husband or I won't have a
Yeah.
partner
Yeah.
or I won't be desired or I won't be attractive to somebody. I am short. I need a step stool. I have a step stool in every room so I
Yeah.
can get things on the top shelf. I don't grieve that I need a step stool. It's inconvenient.
Right. Yeah.
It is frustrating, but it
Yeah.
isn't a personal affront or a moral failing
Yeah.
because
That
I
makes
am
sense.
also vertically challenged. Actually,
Yeah.
probably shouldn't say that because I'm short.
Yeah. I love that. I was also going to say, like, to your point about getting your nails done, being complicit in all these things, one of the other cover ups that I have a hard time with is someone saying, I just do it for me to feel pretty.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's true. It's not like they're lying.
No.
It's also incomplete. And I think it
Ooh.
does a pretty big disservice not to acknowledge the other pieces.
Mm.
Because if, like someone saying, oh, should I do makeup in front of my daughter? Like, I don't want her to get the impression, that you need to do makeup. And I'll be like, well, why do you
Yeah.
do makeup? And they're like, just for me to feel pretty. And I'm like, okay. So how come, like, you don't worry about this with your boy? Well, because he's never going to feel unpretty without makeup, right? That's not a concern. So it's like that's the context that
Mm.
has to be talked about, even if the choice
Yeah.
truly is yours. But I do feel like if that were really the case, some of my favorite TikTokers, you'd be doing makeup like them, where it's like you have like a tree trunk and like floral cherry blossoms across your face. Like that's creative expression and doing it for
Yeah.
you, right? If you're just doing a cute smoky eye, like and a lip combo, I think there's more to the story than just doing it for you because we
I
are in the system.
if I'm wearing makeup in a video, it's because I'm making content and that is it. Like I mostly will wear makeup because I'm like I need to do something entertaining while I'm talking to you about body image. And so but that not was not always the case for me. Like there was this I feel afraid to go
Oh
out
my God,
without
me
makeup.
too. The first day, I remember the first day that I didn't wear mascara, I thought like the sidewalk would open up and swallow me because everyone would like know I didn't deserve to be on that sidewalk. I don't know what all of my fear facing. The first time I didn't wear a push-up bra, then the first time
Yes.
I didn't wear a real bra, then the first time I didn't wear a bralette. Like I was certain
Yes.
the
Yes.
world would end. And like
Yeah.
everyone would turn to me in a Black Mirror style and just be like, shame.
And going back to your original point of the wealthy rich men upholding the societal standard, like if I've seen things that were like, oh, your entire childhood was a lie because Limited Two and
Yeah, yeah,
Abercrombie,
exactly.
like all of the Victoria's Secret, right, were created by
Yeah.
these pedophile white
Mm-hmm.
men who, like, I was like, oh, I was fat. I never fit into any of the stores anyway, so marked safe from
Marked safe. Oh my God.
But I
Oh,
remember yearning, like wanting so badly to fit into those stores.
of
And
course, yeah.
and it just not being accessible to me. And like with intention. One of the other books I recommend, Jess Baker's Things No One Tells Fat Girls.
I love her.
And she had done this campaign of like, because I think it was Les Wexner or somebody who
Yeah.
came out and said, we don't want fat people in
Oh,
our
that wasn't
models.
him. That was the Abercrombie guy, I think.
Oh, who was it? All right, so it was
Yeah,
the
yeah. But
Abercrombie guy. Right, right, right. And so
all of
she
them.
did a whole campaign where she posed with a Abercrombie type model,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
it was
Or
it was
Lululemon. Maybe it was I know what you're talking about.
it was
That
Abercrombie. It was
yeah,
Abercrombie. I
okay.
remember because it was the black and white. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
frustrating. But yeah, I feel like with that stuff, like if someone says, oh, I can't go without mascara because I have no eyelashes, what they're really saying is, I can't go without mascara because that would make me very uncomfortable. It turns out that we actually can be uncomfortable. That's a thing that we can and probably should do, right? So
yeah.
a lot of the work is sort of breaking people free from what feels like I have to or I'll die. Because again, you don't trust yourself to handle the circumstance.
Correct.
If someone did at work be like, "Ooh, you look sick today. Are you sick?" You would actually just be like, "Dude, that's a pretty rude thing to say," rather than die on the spot. But that's often why people don't, change the way they do their hair or makeup or give up whatever the thing is, because they're afraid of something like that happening. But really, they're that they don't have the resilience to handle it. People are afraid that they don't have the resilience to do those things, and it turns out resilience is a skill or a capacity that you can build.
And I will sort of end on this. I tell people you don't actually need to be resilient. You just need to be resourceful enough, right? Resilience says I can handle all things. Resourceful enough says I have the capacity to figure out what I need to get the support that I need.
I love that. Because that's self-trust. I trust myself to figure it out, not I trust myself to know how to do it.
Boop. And
love.
We've come full circle.
Love.
I could talk to you for hours on this. This was so good.
Fun.
How can people learn from you, work with you? Give us all the details.
People can buy my book, Body Neutral, A Revolutionary Guide to Overcoming Body Image Issues, where I go through all the steps, breaking everything down and giving a million examples. And you can also find me at jessikneeland.com or on Instagram at Jessi Kneeland. I do have a podcast, but I've been taking a break on that, called This Is Not About Your Body. And yeah, people can work with me or apply to work with me for coaching on my website.
Amazing. I'll actually link our episode on your podcast.
Oh, yeah.
In the show notes.
That was a great episode.
It was, and in my non-ADHD mind, I was like, I'm going to listen to that before I bring Jessi on mine. That did not happen. But nonetheless, still a great conversation. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your wisdom. And I think a lot of people will take a lot away from today's conversation.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. This was good. Thank you so much. Hey, friend. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Body Grievers Club. Like all of our podcasting friends, we ask that you like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who you think needs to hear it. I know that body grief is tough, but I hope this episode helped you to feel less alone. To learn more about how you can shift your body grief to radical body acceptance, be sure to check out my free 7-step guide designed to help highlight how you can transform your body image story. You can also learn how to work with me inside of the show notes. Remember, my friends, your body grief is painful and real, but you are never alone, especially when you're part of the Body Grievers Club. Thank you for listening, and until next time.